After the Hype. Your host is always Brian Dressel. With me, as always, is no one.
Me. And in the refrigerator, depending on how much that comes through.
Yeah, the refrigerator's definitely in the room with us. And this one does not have an off switch, and nor can I climb behind it and unplug it. And I wasn't about to turn off power to our entire apartment for it. So you can hear Chewie Darso is here.
I am.
Hi. My wife.
Most of the time.
Well, not really. If you look at all of time, you've been my wife for a very little time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not most of the time. All of the time now.
I said most of the time.
I'm talking about like the time. Like time. Never mind.
Wibbly wobbly.
It was a long-winded joke that wasn't going to be funny. So this week, we had a bit of a scheduling snafu. Where I did not realize how long my dad was going to be in town and thought I was going to be able to take 2 hours to record a podcast, and then realized he's only really in town for a day, and I really wanted to see my dad. So we had to cancel the podcast, shift things around, and move up our special episode, which I actually have been planning. This isn't a total shit show, what the fuck are we doing? It was a planned episode, and I'm calling it Couples Night. Couples movie night.
Aww.
Now, that does not mean that it only has to be people in a relationship. John and I might do one of these.
That'd be weird.
It'd only be weird if we banged afterwards.
Will you cuddle under the same blanket?
I mean, of course. Yeah, I honestly don't know. Do you think John's a cuddler? There's a question for the ages.
With you. That's more the
I'm very cuddly.
You are. I feel like we'd be making John uncomfortable just with this conversation.
I'm hoping that he listens to this and gets really red in the face.
I hope Jandy's next to him and laughing.
And just going, you're not a cuddler at all. You wouldn't cuddle with either one of them.
He cuddles with his daughters.
He does. But yeah, that's a dad thing. I cuddle with Corin all the time. And that's really the only guy I cuddle with on a regular basis. So we're going to start with a little bit of a where have you been doing, and then we'll move into today's episode, which I will describe when we get there. But I don't want to break tradition too much. This is After the Hype, after all. So I will say very quickly what I have been up to recently, which is reading all of my comics. Since becoming a dad, I have fallen way behind in my comic book reading. I used to keep up with them. I'd buy them that week, I'd read them that week. And now I buy them that week, and I read them 3 weeks later, if not a month to a month and a half later. It's very frustrating. But the one that I'll talk about today is Donnie Cates' Guardians of the Galaxy from Marvel. I am not a big Marvel guy, as anyone who listens to our show probably knows. I love Marvel. I just prefer DC. But this book was incredible. I cannot recommend it highly enough. If you're not reading it, if you're a fan of Guardians in any way, shape, or form, pick this one up. There will be some things you don't understand if you haven't been reading Marvel lately, especially if you didn't read the new Infinity Wars. But that's fine. They explain it enough. You'll get it. And the art's great. The writing's great. Everything about it's great. I don't want to spoil anything. I think people should just go out there and pick it up. That's it for me, though. Chewie, what about you? Anything you've been doing? Where have you been doing it?
I have caught up on a couple shows you don't care to watch. Law and Order SVU, I'm still keeping up with. And they had a bottle episode recently, which is not really their style. They were doing something different, like they were mixing it up. So the entire episode is centered on them, the detectives, waiting to be called to be witnesses in a trial against a woman who shot and killed her cop husband. And essentially they are weighing the morality of telling the truth versus what they believe the perceived victim deserves. The whole episode to me felt like an allegory for like almost Democrats right now, and how they're always like, well, when they go low, we go high. And at this point, most of us are like, well, that's not working. They keep going lower, and our going high doesn't seem to be helping anything.
There's no bottom to the Republican Party. Not to get too political, but
they keep to their high ground, and the woman definitely goes to jail for the rest of her life. And then the end of the episode is like, was that the right decision?
Was it a good episode, though?
It required a lot more out of its viewership than SV usually does, because it's a procedural. So when they do episodes that change that procedure up, it's a little bit of a shock to the system.
So I'd say yes, it's a good episode.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever watch it.
No, you won't.
But, yeah. So that's the end of Where Have You Been Doing? Because there's only two of us here.
Yeah. So I'm sorry if mine was a little more long-winded.
It was edited. They have no idea how much you talked. They don't know how much I talked. I definitely cut part of mine out. I knew it as I said it. So today's episode, we've been trying to think about a way to do new episodes where we can cover more movies, but they're not battles, and they're not like the secret Santa things. Like, there's so many movies out there, and so many that we want to talk about. And I've been trying to workshop an idea of sharing movies with each other. That's kind of where the secret Santa thing came from. And this one I thought would be a little bit better if, like, one of us picks a movie that they know the other person hasn't seen, and then you reciprocate. And it was going to be a double Denzel night. And then after I saw Chewie's movie, I'm like, I can't. All my Denzel movies are too good. I can't pair them with this wonderful piece of cinema.
What are you talking about?
And that was Virtuosity.
Virtuosity.
We'll get there in a moment. And then after seeing Virtuosity, I'm like, okay, so Virtuosity is a movie from the 90s. Everyone has forgotten about it.
Hey.
Everyone has forgotten about it.
I talk about it.
General population has forgotten about it. I don't know why I went for a prison thing there.
Well, yeah.
It works.
There's a prison in the movie.
There is a prison in the movie. It works.
A really weird one.
Yeah, let's call it a prison. Let's call it Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender for some reason.
I did think of that too.
Yeah.
It's some similarities.
Why though? It doesn't matter. That's more of a complaint at Assassin's Creed than it is at Virtuosity.
I think there's more fans of Virtuosity out there.
Yeah, clearly, they made fucking Assassin's Creed. And then my movie. So after watching all of that, I had to think of, like, what's a movie that I liked that was, like, futuristic but wrong. Like, this is what the future's gonna be. No, it's fucking not. And it's just kind of dated and weird, but for some reason it just stuck in my head and I couldn't get rid of it, and I just loved it for what it was, and that was Titan A.E. Even so much so that I recently bought it at a Goodwill because I'd never thought about buying it. Like, for $1, how do I not buy this? And then
you just don't spend the dollar.
No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's Titan A.E. We had to own it. We had to own it. Own it. All right, really quick before we get too far into this, we should do just a really quick summary. I'm not going to do like 30-second breakdown style or anything like that. Like, I don't want to. This is just a happy couple talking about movies we watched together, not at all trying to compete with each other and having the better movie, because that'd be ridiculous. I'd win.
I thought we were supposed to be a happy couple.
That's true. But I know I don't have Russell Crowe in my movie. So
yeah, you don't.
I really don't.
Nope.
So I will let the Russell Crowe movie go first. Just a really quick summary so that when we talk about it, people aren't totally lost.
Okay. This movie came out in 95.
Yep.
I think it's based in 1998 or 9. Honestly, I don't remember what year it's supposed to be in.
I believe 99.
But it's in the future. And in the future, they're trying to solve crimes by creating a virtual reality serial killer. And they try to use it to train cops, but first they're testing it out on criminals. And somehow things run amok, and then there's amok. Yeah, amok. And then there's this not android, not robot, biotech thingy-majig, played by Russell Crowe, who goes out and starts killing people, and it's crazy.
That works. Titan A.E. is the same movie. So we're done. So Titan A.E. Came out in the year 2000. It's about the Earth has been destroyed by an alien race called the Dredge. They hate humanity for reasons.
They never say.
I said for reasons. And Lil Matt Damon, goes out into space with some people, not his dad. And his dad flew away on the Titan as the Earth was exploding, and somehow between then and now got murdered and hid the Titan somewhere and gave his son a ring that can magically lead him to the Titan. And the most of the movie is a race to the Titan to turn the Titan on and create a new world. Bob. The planet Bob.
Okay.
I still hold that I enjoy that.
Bob is a good name for a cat.
Bob is a terrible name for a cat. Excellent name for a planet. Either way, that's it. All right, let's get started.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to let Chewie go first and describe why this was the movie that I had to see.
Virtuosity?
Yes.
Virtuosity. So you know, it's Virtuosity. Curiosity of Virtuosity.
I had none.
Totally. Yes. Well, this was another one of those movies that a very young Chewie saw. Most likely alone at home on the television. And young Chewie went, damn, Russell Crowe looks great in a green suit. Russell Crowe also looks amazing in a purple suit. But beyond that, it is just a bonkers movie. Honestly, one of my love-hate relationships in cinema is 90s ideas of technology. My God, like, and then when we were watching this movie, I never, bothered to look into the director, and then Bryan blurts out that this guy also did Lawnmower Man. I'm like, oh my God, that makes perfect sense.
It fits.
Except this movie is better than Lawnmower Man. I don't even like Lawnmower Man. But Bryan's a huge fan of Hackers. And
Hackers is the best about it all these.
Yeah, but just, oof, the 90s idea of what the internet is and what it's capable of was amazing. And
just wrong.
Yeah, it's so wrong.
just across the board wrong.
I mean, it was new. You don't know.
It wasn't that new,
it's
though.
Like Logan's Run in the 70s was so wrong.
I feel like that was closer than Virtuosity.
Sure.
Like, Logan's Run at least got the idea that we're only going to really care about people in their 20s for the rest of time. Like, that kind of made sense. Because once you hit 30, nobody cares about you anymore.
Yeah, but somehow we got more Puritan towards nipples since Logan's Run.
That's true. There are a lot of nipples in Logan's Run.
Yeah, and
it's PG.
Yeah.
They run through an orgy.
Yeah.
That movie's so weird.
And this movie is also very weird. And in my thought process of it, about how to relate this movie to things that Bryan loves, I came up with it's kind of like Batman and the Joker. Denzel's Batman. He lost some...
Quick pause. Denzel should be Batman. I am so on board for a Denzel Washington Batman movie.
I mean, he would be very... he'd do old Batman right now.
Okay? Oh my God. If you do like Dark Knight Returns with Denzel as Batman, he'd be an amazing Batman.
He honestly would. So it's the same sort of thing. He's really angry because this maniacal dude killed his family, and now some evil scientist put that dude into another dude, and now that dude is running amok in Los Angeles.
And now I want to watch Good Burger and hear the song, "You're a dude, I'm a dude, we're all dudes, yeah."
Yeah, but that dude is played by Russell Crowe, and oh my God, this is the role unlike anything else that Russell Crowe's ever done. I will argue that. I mean, I haven't seen every Russell Crowe movie, but usually he's playing just the macho, super serious men. And no, that's Denzel in this movie. Russell Crowe is hammering it up. He's chewing that scenery. He's acting weird. He's all like funny and cute. And he's just having fun killing people.
This is where I'm going to jump in a little bit, because I feel like when you wanted me to watch this movie, you kept saying like it's a Denzel movie, and like because that's one of the only Denzel movies you've seen, because Denzel's just one of those weird
blank spots
that you, for some reason you're just
and I love Denzel in this movie.
He's very good in it, but I feel like if you would pitch this as more of a Russell Crowe movie, and like you need to see this because Russell Crowe never did this performance again. And that's not like his shtick. It's not like...
It's been so long since I've actually watched it myself. I forgot how bonkers he is.
He's zany. He is Jack Nicholson's Joker. Like Jack Nicholson's Joker when he's listening to Prince destroying the weird museum restaurant that they're
totally.
in. But he's that the whole movie. Like he's too...
He wears green and purple.
He wears green and purple. Like he is Jack Nicholson's Joker. Like I feel like you even said this while we were watching it. If they had fuck off Jared Leto, which I think we all agree with at this point. I think he was an interesting choice, but they gambled and lost. If they had gambled on Russell Crowe, after seeing this movie, he'd be a little chubby for a Joker, but...
He could lose the weight.
He's older.
Get on that superhero diet.
Yeah, if he gets on the superhero diet...
Hang out with Chris Pratt and Hemsworth.
Yeah, just hang out with the Chris's.
Hang out with the Chris's.
He would have been an amazing Joker, and I never would have ever thought that had I not watched this movie. And I've told Chewie, 10, 15, 20,000 times since watching it, I will never watch this again. It's horrible. It is just horrible.
It's not that bad.
It's that bad.
But it's definitely worth one watch.
It is so worth that one watch. And I would watch it again just for Russell Crowe. Like, everything I enjoyed about the movie is Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that the rest of the movie isn't up there with him.
Yeah. Because the rest of the movie wants to take itself so seriously. Like, this is serious sci-fi, guys. This is a serious sci-fi murder mystery. Gonna catch the bad guy. Russell Crowe's just out there going, oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah, Russell Crowe is a virtual reality system. Not an AI. They never say AI.
They never say AI, but he definitely is.
But he is. They should say AI.
They even say he's evolving in the movie at one point.
But...
They do. He's evolving.
Yeah, I just lost my entire train of thought with he's evolving. God, that movie's it's a bad movie. Like, it's just a bad movie. But Russell Crowe, like, just because you'll never see this performance out of him anywhere again. No. Like, even like when he does comedy roles, he's still he's not necessarily
he's always playing the gruff dude.
Yeah, he's the gruff dude. He's not the straight man per se, but he's more of the straight man to whoever the zany person is. But he's zany. He's whimsical. He's just everything you don't expect to see Russell Crowe. You can't watch The Insider and then watch this and think it's the same guy. Yeah. Like, it's so out there.
He's like the maniacal version of Hannibal Lecter, almost.
Sure, I guess. Like,
I don't know. That might be a stretch, because Hannibal Lecter, I mean, he has that maniacal, like, slithery, like, scariness to him, but he's very British. He's very polite, and he only kills people that are rude to him or whoever he wants to eat, kind of.
If you're going just Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter, I can see it.
Because I haven't seen the TV show.
Well, I've read the books. They're different. But whatever. It's fine. Like, and it works. But, like, just kind of talking a little bit about what I didn't like about it. I love Denzel Washington. I honestly do. He just wasn't the right choice for this. Like, he was too much of a cop. Like, this is right around, like, when Denzel started becoming, like, Denzel, where, like, no matter what movie he's in, it's gonna break all the box office records, which he held that title for a while. Like, he was one of the most bankable actors out there.
I can't think of another movie. Again, this is the only movie that I can think of that, I mean, I haven't seen too many Denzel movies, obviously. But can you tell me a different Denzel movie where he's doing straight sci-fi type of thing?
No, he's not really a sci-fi
he's
guy.
More a drama.
Yeah,
like
drama,
straight
cop
drama, like historical something.
Yeah, this isn't his normal thing. So I do appreciate him stepping out of his wheelhouse. But again, this is right before he was the cinema god that he has become.
This is after he's done Philadelphia, which is arguably one of the movies that really blasted him into his heights, almost.
But the problem with Philadelphia is that he had to share that screen with the guy who won an Oscar.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, like Tom Hanks gave the performance of a lifetime in that movie, so it didn't really matter how good he was in that. People are still going to think of that as the Tom Hanks movie. But beyond Denzel Washington, like, it's really just those two guys, because the rest of the cast is just there. They don't really do much. They don't really try that hard. The actress, I don't remember her name, doesn't really do much. She's still acting, but she doesn't really do much.
In Virtuosity?
Else. Yeah. But the problem is you have super straight lace Denzel Washington, who's in like a VR lawnmower man Assassin's Creed-esque machine, and like he's too grounded in our world for the Russell Crowe villain, who's a AI in a like nanobot machine that can heal itself by eating glass. Like, it's just, he's so weird and everything else is so normal that it just, I get what they're going for, at least what I think they're going for, was if we make everything as normal as it is today and make him as strange as possible, he'll seem that much more strange juxtaposed to the normal reality. But to me, it's just kind of world-breaking of like, why, if you're this normal and you're this weird, why is nobody else freaking out about this?
I don't know. It almost had a slightly Judge Dredd feeling to it.
A little bit.
A little bit of a weird way, because everyone's just totally cool with all this weird shit happening around them.
Yeah.
Except if you run around with a gun.
But that's again, normal. Yeah. Shouldn't run around with guns. I apologize if I sound congested. I'm getting more and more congested as we're talking. So let's move into my movie a little bit. And then we'll kind of talk about the similarities between them afterwards. So I chose Titan A.E., like I said before, because of dated movie, didn't understand technology, weird idea of whatever the hell the future is going to be. But Titan A.E. comes with a little bit more of an asterisk.
Because this came out in 2000.
Came out in 2000, so 5 years after. And it had some real fucking heavy hitters as the writers. It was written by John August and Joss Whedon and a guy I don't remember. And then it was directed by a huge guy from animation, if you were into movies that weren't just Disney. And now I'm blanking on his name. You know his name.
Don Bluth. But he actually shared...
He shared director, yeah. But so like, there's some really big people going into this thing, and they spent like 75 million on it, like nearly 100 million.
Something crazy,
a crazy
like
amount of money.
Pixar level of
money.
Money.
And then they expected this to be gargantuan. They got Matt Damon, they got Janine Garofalo. I don't know why she was the second one I went for. Drew Barrymore, Bill Pullman, John Leguizamo, Nathan Lane, like big cast, Ron Perlman, like big cast, tons of money on animation. All the 2D animation is beautiful. And then they decided to add in not just 3D animation, but like full blown like computer generated, like almost like CGI effects for a normal film. Normal sounds wrong. For like a live action film in an animated film.
And honestly, some of the effects of that, particularly the dredge, was not much better than the effects we had in Virtuosity.
Yeah.
At least in the DVD that we watched.
Yeah, which I did buy an old used DVD. So that must be why the effects weren't as good, right? That's how that works. But it's weird because it's so held back by the style they chose to go with. And I've said it before in the show, and I'll say it again. I would rather you try something new and fail than just do everything the same the whole way through. And this movie is a prime example of they tried something new and it definitely failed.
It took a while for people to really admit that mixing 2D with 3D just doesn't really work. It's just weird. And this was one of the first really big swings at that. And it made no money. Worldwide made nothing. Yeah. It was a huge, tremendous flop, and it's really too bad because I think at the core of this movie is a solid sci-fi story with solid characters, solid motivation, kind of fun world. Especially like the worlds they build in space are just unlike any other sci-fi movie I've seen. Like each world they go to is distinctly different with different plants, different animals, different species, different like they're not all the general humanoid shape.
Almost none of them are. Like the dredge are not; they're little humanoid-esque, but they still kind of walk differently. But then the rest of the species are completely different. There's one Nathan Lane's character is humanoid-esque, but not the face. But then like Janine Garofalo's is totally different.
Yeah.
And then John Leguizamo's totally different. Like they do really fun things and really creative things. But no matter how good the core of the movie is, it's just destroyed by the horrid mix of animation.
I don't think it's just the animation, though. I was not moved by Matt Damon or Drew Barrymore's performance.
Yeah, that did not bother me at all when I was a kid when I saw this, and I haven't watched this really probably since 2001, I want to say, so a good 18 years since I've seen this. And yeah, when I was younger, their performance did not bother me at all, and now older, it's like
there's a reason neither of them do voiceover acting.
Yeah, they're not very good.
Yeah.
And I get it, they're going more for name than performance. I understand, that's fine.
But the performance from everyone else was fantastic.
Yeah, Bill Pullman did a really good job.
Roles.
Yeah, really into it. And the main reason why I picked this one for Chewie, beyond everything that I've already said, is that we're both big fans of Joss Whedon, and we're both big fans of Firefly. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff in this movie that later got brought into Firefly. I think some of the design of like the interior of the ships, the Bill Pullman's character, Captain Joseph, really looks like Mal. He kind of walks like Mal. He's dressed like Mal. He even has a coat that's kind of like the brown coats. Yeah. Like there's a lot of design choices, and I'm not sure how much influence Joss Whedon had as the writer because he wasn't the animator and he sure wasn't the director. But there's too many similarities from one to the other that there wasn't some influence there. At least I don't think so. And then otherwise, like you'll see little glimmers of this movie throughout a lot of sci-fi now. And it's clearly people were into it, just very few.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see this movie when I was younger. This was in 2000, so I was a sophomore in high school. post Star Wars and everything, this should have been my bread and butter.
Yeah.
But it didn't capture me. Again, it's just...
It captured no one.
Like,
it failed.
I just always had a aversion towards the mixing of 3D and 2D. Like, when the Spider-Man animated series started doing that with the city landscapes, I was just like, oh, stop it. Yeah, please.
I still don't think they have a real handle on it. It still looks weird when they try to do it.
They keep trying. And just quit it.
Like, I think the only one that did it pretty well would be Into the Spider-Verse.
But they made it a plot point.
Exactly. Like, they did it really well. And, like, they did it so it was both 2D and 3D. It wasn't 2D characters in a 3D world. There were characters that could be both 2D and 3D depending on what the scene needed.
Like, it was where it's motivated.
Yeah. And this one...
As a stylistic choice, it doesn't really work on its own.
No. And I feel like any attempt after this one was just a mistake. Because anyone who watched this movie, and they should have done exactly what I did. Is this would have been a very good animated film, or a very good live-action film, or a very good 3D animated film. It is not good as a mixture of any of them.
I'd be totally down with them making this movie as a live-action film.
Oh, yeah.
They could update it a little bit, make the relationship between the male and female leads, a little less cliche.
Yeah. Make the twist a little less obvious of... Oh, I bet those two guys are going to be the bad guys. Like, that's really obvious.
The only twist is that they were both bad guys.
Yeah. So as an experiment of couples movie night, we've kind of talked a little bit about both of them, pluses and minuses. As a pairing of a single movie night, do you think this is a good pairing?
Not completely, no. I mean, we chose them because they're movies that stuck with us from our youth.
Sure.
Like, whatever reason we enjoyed them and still think of them to today. So there's a good pairing there because it gives us, a look into each other's psyches even more than we might have already had.
Right.
But we both know that we have very odd tastes.
What do you mean?
Yeah. The themes of these movies don't match up. The style of them don't really match up. Like,
I don't know. I think the themes sure don't match up, but the style I think are kind of there. Like, they're both this weird sort of... Am I serious? Am I not? Do I have jokes? Do I not? Like, they both kind of have this weird straddling, I want to be very serious and funny at the same time. Now, animation does that all the time. And especially Don Bluth would do that all the time. He'd make very, very serious, hard-hitting stories and go, it's for kids. Like Secret of Nim. Like,
that's one of the reasons why I personally have always loved Don Bluth, because he's, to me, one of the filmmakers in history that understands you can scare kids. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll absorb a bunch of it, and then when they get older, they'll watch the movie again and enjoy it for different reasons.
And that's where I think Titan A.E. kind of lacks a little bit. I
don't really think it's a good go back to.
I think it's a very good go back to. I think it's a good movie for people in their 20s and 30s. I think they should have just gone full R-rated with it, because they made a very adult story with adult characters, adult themes, adult consequences, and then said it's for kids. People get just blatantly murdered in this. Like rough.
Like the cook just gets splattered against a wall, literally, because he's a bug.
Yeah, and then other guys getting their necks snapped. Like, it's not an easy movie to watch if you're at all squeamish. Like, it's kind of a heavy movie.
But kind of like, Land Before Time. Dinosaurs are dying left and right in that movie.
Sure, I mean, that's Don Bluth for you.
Yeah.
But even Land Before Time still had more of a kid edge to it, because they're kids.
Yeah.
They are kids. And, like, this one, there's no children in it. Like, Cal is a kid in the beginning, but that's all of 5 minutes. And then at the end of that sequence, Earth gets destroyed. All of those people die. Like, so it's just it's a dark sci-fi movie. That's why I think it kind of fits with Virtuosity, because Virtuosity is kind of the same thing. Like, oh, this is all the fun stuff we could do with this technology, or it could be bleak and awful.
Well, the bleak aspect of Virtuosity is its commentary on media and its obsession with death.
Yeah.
Because there's commentary in Virtuosity. I mean, it seems something we're all familiar with at this point, but I think in 1995 it was more interesting, maybe.
I'm not sure if it was more interesting. It was just more, I don't want to say ahead of its time, because I don't want to give the movie too many compliments, but it was that sort of like, like the whole point of Russell Crowe killing people is he wants to do it in front of an audience.
Yeah.
And whenever he starts doing it in front of an audience, people pay attention.
Yeah, and he gets, like, high off of it.
Yeah.
He gets angry when he gets turned off.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things to say, I think, in both movies, and I just don't think either one of them fully stuck their landings. But I think in both of them, there is absolutely a nugget or two of just pure joy, and you should definitely see both of them.
They're definitely worth a watch.
For Titan A.E., I think, especially for its time, it was one of the best sci-fi movies to come out for story and character. For everything else, ugh. And you can't even remotely talk about the soundtrack for either film without throwing up in your mouth a little bit.
Neither. I had forgotten how bad the soundtrack was in my movie, and then I was wholly unimpressed with the soundtrack in your movie.
It didn't help that with our movie we had the subtitles on, so you got to read the lyrics as they happen. It's like, oh, this is on the nose.
It really was. But, like, there was parts of your film when the music should have been, like, high energy, like, we're supposed to be having fun in this moment, but they just seemed kind of low and more like a jam session thing than an actual, like, we're going on an adventure song.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Or they should have just gone to the future and seen Firefly and gone, oh, we should go Western. Western should be the theme. Yeah. That's a good way to go.
Honestly, however much I enjoy that film, the chemistry behind Denzel and Russell Crowe is not really there.
Nah.
I don't... Was Russell Crowe in An American Gangster?
Yeah.
He was?
Uh-huh.
Maybe they got better when they got older.
It was better there. Because American Gangster isn't a bad movie. It's a way too long of a movie, but it's not a bad movie.
And they have better chemistry there?
Yeah.
Okay. So, maybe, to me that would be the biggest drawback, because however much I enjoy this movie and I enjoy their interactions, and I compared it to Batman and the Joker.
That's a big compliment.
But they don't have that relationship, really.
I think I'll do your movie the solid of saying it's not either one of their faults. I think because the movie was so stuck on he's a Looney Tune character and the rest of you are from Reservoir Dogs that it just by sticking to their characters they locked themselves out of chemistry.
Yeah.
Is what I think happened. Alright, I think that's kind of everything we can say on these two for right now. Is there something we've missed that you wanted to talk about?
Well, if I was going to add one other thing to maybe get other people interested in seeing Virtuosity, other than what we've cited, I think this is a great opportunity to see a very trim Russell Crowe butt that I don't know if you got to see in any other films. He does some stretches, a little bit of yoga.
And they black out his penis.
They blur it out. I don't know.
Somehow.
At least you hope they do, otherwise it's not really...
Or he has no penis.
Yeah, or
because he does quite a squat,
yeah,
and we should have seen, taking from a different episode, some backle there.
Yeah, but yeah, he might not be as trim nowadays, but he was trim back then.
He was, and he had a very itty bitty butt.
It was good,
just a little butt.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Just a little butt.
Yeah.
To be fair, my movie also had two butts. We got both male and female butt in my movie. They were animated characters, and that wasn't any of the 3D stuff. But I'll say, they were well-animated butts.
I did like it when Matt Damon was like, I'm naked here. And no one was like, oh, we don't care.
We don't care.
And I'm like, is that an insult or a compliment? Or I don't know.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
It's an insult. You're not impressive naked. It's a compliment. Whatever.
I
guess that's not a compliment. So that's really it for today. I'd say this worked out. We'll see how many of these we can churn out. I'm not sure if it'll be a normal standing feature or not. I know John has expressed interest in doing one of these with Jandy, so it could be. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So next week, be sure to tune in where we will be talking. How to phrase this? So IMDb has a bottom 250 movies. They're user generated based off user reviews. I wanted to be a little bit meaner to our people around the table than normal, and I decided to make it bottom 100. So out of that 250, you can go from 100 to 1. You can pick any movie in there, and you have to defend it as if it's the best movie you've ever seen. So next Thursday, we will have the bottom 100 of IMDb battle, and we have some real losers at the table, like the cream of the crop of fucking awful movies.
They're not losers. They just didn't perform well.
They are losers. They are offensive. They are bad. One of them almost made me leave my apartment. It was the worst movie.
One of them did make me angry for about 2 days.
Yeah, it is. Woof. There's some bad movies on the table, and I am so excited to talk about them. John will be our judge on that one, which will be a lot of fun. And coming up after that, we have more movies, and I don't remember what all they are. So look forward to all of those. Quick round of plugs. Be sure to watch Superstore for Chewie here, and Drunk History for all of our friends back at Drunk History.
They got honored at the ADG Awards.
How awesome. I did not see that. And then for us at After the Hype, be sure to listen to Venture Bros every Monday, listen to Samwise on Tuesdays, listen to us on Thursdays, listen to Demon Days on whatever day it comes out, and listen to a Dogs podcast on whatever day it comes out.
Coming soon.
And that's it for us.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.